The world may lead you to believe that Scottie Barnes is in the midst of a sophomore slump and has yet to show any improvements from his rookie season, as the Raptors have had one of their worst seasons in years. And looking at the stats at face value, perhaps that might be the case. Barnes is averaging almost identical stats to his Rookie of the Year campaign, with 15.7 points, 4.9 assists, and 7.1 rebounds per game. As you can see, that's essentially identical to his rookie year, on poorer efficiency too, with his true shooting percentage slumping to 53.5%. However, stats aren't the be-all end-all of things, and I think if you watch the Raptors this season, though the team has been terrible at times and their half-court offense is dreadful, the potential of Barnes is still extremely evident on both sides of the floor. So, in today's video, I want to break down some film and contextualize Barnes' season so far amidst the unnecessary hate in order to highlight the improvements I've seen in his game that the mainstream media haven't really talked about, and ultimately why there's been a lot more positives in this season for Scottie than negatives. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe. For more NBA content like this, a like on the video would also go a really long way in supporting the channel's growth, so any support is greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that being said, let's talk about Scottie Barnes and the Toronto Raptors. Scottie Barnes' major improvements in my eyes come from his ability to read the floor a lot better than in his rookie season. With a full season of action under his belt, he's now more adjusted to the league's pace, play and style, and is making far better reads on both ends of the floor. Let's start with his defensive improvements, because that's where I personally have seen a lot of growth in Scottie, and that deserves some spotlight. As I said, having a season under his belt has enabled Barnes to read the opponent's offense and make instinctual plays far better. While his steals and blocks have hovered around the same mark as his rookie year, only minimal improvements, and he is prone to getting blown by as an on-ball defender, it's his impact off the ball that often doesn't show up in the stat sheet that I think has improved tremendously. He's much more vocal on this end, a great communicator, getting teammates to move into better positions, and he clearly takes pride in getting key stops, even if he's not directly involved in the play. Let's take a look at this defensive read here against the Knicks. He notices as Randle posts up on Siakam that Anunoby will be the sliding help, leaving the tiny Van Vliet to guard the massive Mitchell Robinson. He communicates this to Gary Trent Jr., so GTJ slides up to the elbow of the paint, allowing Barnes to quickly get inside to match up on Robinson, which prevents any chance of Randle finding him, resulting in a tough look for Randle. Randle is fouled on the play, but he only makes one of the 2 free throws, and I'd say forcing him to get his point to the stripe is a far better result here for the Raptors than allowing an easy dunk. Barnes enables this to happen with this read. Though Barnes isn't awarded with any sort of stat on this play, his realization of the Raptors' defensive setup and his mid-play adjustment results in this stop. It's simply great defensive anticipation, almost on a veteran level, and these aren't a rare sighting in Raptors games either for Barnes. Scottie's timing on defensive efforts have simply improved, and this is resulting in a decline in his personal fouls per game, dropping to nearly less than 2 this season as of when writing this script. You can see that improved timing exhibited here against New York again, but this time in their matchup on the 22nd of January. To not only take on the speed of RJ Barrett off the catch there, but also sidestep over to contest is risky, but ultimately, Scottie cleanly blocks the ball and brings it into Toronto's possession. Just underrated stuff. Moving on to the offense, while Scottie definitely has seen better days this season with his offense, he's still been very good and shown improvements, especially within his playmaking capabilities. Out of any stats for Barnes this season, his biggest and most notable leap has come from his assists, averaging over 1.5 more per game, and there's good reason for that. He's increased his aggressiveness on the offensive side of the ball, pushing the pace, and he is always ready to find the open player. like here against the Bucks. Barnes notices mid-jump shot that Anunoby's roll to the rim has gotten him open, with Brook Lopez committing to Scottie, so he darts the pass in instead of shooting, leading to the easy lay-in. It might look like a simple read, but that split-second decision to pass instead of shoot to get the easier look is great to see from a young player. It shows his unselfishness. And here's a wild one that truly encapsulates everything I've discussed with Scottie so far today. He gets into the passing lane and cuts off the kick-out pass from a New York drive, then quickly turns and whips a full court pass to Gary Trent Jr. for the fast break dunk, getting Toronto in their most dangerous element. It's the dagger for Toronto that wins them this ball game as well. It may just be a handful of flashes of brilliance for now, but I think there's enough to suggest that Scottie Barnes is truly still a star in the making, and with the right floor group, he can seriously go to the next level in all areas of the game. Finally, while Barnes definitely has room to grow as a scorer, particularly in the half court, it certainly doesn't help that he's surrounded by some below average half court creators, and all-stars like Van Vliet are having a bit of a down year. Many of Toronto's pieces just aren't complementary to one another in the half-court setting, so while the transition potential of Siakam, Barnes, Anunoby, etc. is through the roof, they can get exposed a bit as a bit one-dimensional in the half-court. That's not a shot at any of those players, it's just what we've seen occur this year, and I think it's partially held Barnes back from growing into a greater scorer than he is right now. That's not to say it won't ever happen for Scottie. Growth in the NBA is not linear, and a lot of fans forget that. Plus, looking at the last month, Barnes has had 7 20-plus point games in January, including a 29-point performance against Minnesota, where he shot 11 for 15 from the floor. As a whole last month, Barnes posted averages of 18 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, and 5.6 assists across the 16 Raptor games in January. That included 1.3 blocks per game as well. So the question I have personally is, why have we not heard much about this, but we've heard all about his struggles? The growth is clearly starting to come along now, and hopefully that gets recognized some more now. What I'm trying to get at here is we need to be patient with not just Barnes and this Raptors core, but really any young group in the league. With a couple of moves and a good off-season, things can turn around for a team and player. As for Scottie, hopefully his improvements in his defensive anticipation, playmaking abilities, and recent scoring will be recognized soon enough, as he's quietly, in some areas, improving at a rapid rate. The Raptors season overall may be disappointing, but there's a lot to like with Scottie Barnes, and he's starting to show to me he's going to do a lot more in his career than simply be a former Rookie of the Year. Let's not speak too prematurely on young players, shall we? If you made it this far, you must have enjoyed this analysis, so please be sure to leave it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I really do appreciate all your support. Anyway, with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.